Hi, in this video we're going to talk about how to do a free background check in Ohio. Now to get started, go to ohiopublicrecords.org. I'll have a link in the description. You can click on that or just type this into your browser. On the home page you will notice quite a few public record databases. A lot of these can be utilized when it comes to background checking. Now it just depends what type of a background check you're doing. Now I'll get into the most sought after public record out there when it comes to background checks a little bit later, which is the criminal record. But first I just wanted to show you a quick way to use some of these public databases when it comes to just everyday background checking. And that's what this video is about. Just what can everyday people use just to run a background check in everyday situations. So for example, if you're looking at the database here, let's say you're doing a big project, big remodeling project, you're about to put a lot of money into it and you're hiring a contractor. One of the things that you can do, for example, is you could take the contractor license lookup database and maybe the business records database, and you can come down and actually look the person up. Just type their first name and the last name in. Make sure everything is legit. Make sure they actually have a license. Make sure everything is paid for. See how long have they had the license for, things like that. So another thing that you can do is typically a lot of these people have registered businesses like an LLC or a corp, and you can come in and search by either a business name, or sometimes you can actually search by the agent, which would be the owner name. And you can look up how long have they had the business for, have they been paid up, is everything paid for, is everything looking legit, so you could verify these types of records for free. And then another thing you could do is maybe you could grab the court records and pull up civil records and check for things like, have there ever been, and you could research by name or business name, so you could do both. And you could look up like, has there ever been any financial lawsuits against this company or maybe this individual regarding maybe some dealings within the construction industry. So you could do this research and just be a little bit more informed about the company or the individual that you're working with, and that way you can feel more confident when you're handing your money over and trusting somebody with like a big job or a big project. So that's one way of doing it. Now we're going to talk about, and so you have quite a few of these databases that could be used just like that in everyday life. Now let's talk about the most sought after record when it comes to background checks, and that would be the criminal record. And I'm going to go over free resources in particular that people have in the state of Ohio that they can use to locate this information. So if you hover over other records, you'll notice we have specialized pages for the most sought after records. And let's just walk through how a criminal record starts. So I clicked on inmate search here. And so what you have here you have your most populous counties and you have your arrest and jail records. Now, a criminal record starts pretty much with an arrest most of the time. So a police officer arrests an individual, charges them with a crime, they go to jail, they go through the booking process, picture taken, fingerprints taken, and they typically will post bail. Maybe they're going to just get released, or they might spend that time in jail and wait until they see a judge. But ultimately, they will all have to see a judge. And so when somebody gets arrested, now this will depend on the local sheriff's department typically. Some of them will have a database that you can use to research this information. And these databases are free. So you can figure out history of all the different incidences that the individual had just by looking up arrest records. Now, this doesn't mean that they were found guilty. It also doesn't mean every single county is every single sheriff's department is gonna provide these records for you, in an easy way. Online, sometimes you have to actually request. If you actually need the arrest record, you can request them from the police or the sheriff's department as well. It would be considered a public record. So another thing that happens after they get arrested is they will have to see a judge. And so I'm going to hover over other records, and I'm going to select court records. And so anytime somebody sees a judge, a court document is created. Unless a case is a sensitive case, typically that would be considered a public record. In general, this information can be researched through a local court of clerk's office. So a lot of these local court of clerk offices actually will provide a database that you can use to research this information. As an example, Franklin County actually has a couple of them. So you can, as you can see, they cover criminal records, and you can actually even isolate. So I'm gonna just type a general name here, and I'm going to isolate just to criminal records. I don't want to see, for instance, anything else. Maybe you do want to look at civil. Sometimes financial information is useful as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and select criminal here, and you just hit search, and there you go. You have plenty of information, and this is all free, and you can look into a case more closely. No credit card, no charges, just made for the public to use. Same thing, just looking at another county here, you can, again, you have an option to search criminal information by name, and again, just go ahead, type the name in, and go. No payment needed. So the only I guess problem is you will have to go from county to county, so there is a little bit of work involved with that. But as you have noticed, all of these databases can be researched for free, so it's perfect for background checking if you don't want to pay any money for it. So the final step is, once somebody goes to court, finally you get a verdict. You get a guilty or no guilty verdict. If they're guilty, sometimes they'll pay a fine, and you can figure out that information using court records. Sometimes they will go to a prison or jail. Prison records. Prison is made for people that are serving typically more than a year, and jail if under 12 months. So if they're only serving a couple of months, they'll just finish it out at the county level there. They probably won't even transfer them. If it's more than a year, they will probably get transferred to a prison, and that's managed by the Ohio Department of Rehab and Corrections, and they have their database. And as the other resources I just pointed out, this is also a free database to use. You have your identifying information, a mugshot, why they're there, and of course the sentence information, the dates when they entered the jail, when they were released, how much time they spent there, things like that. So these pages are quite detailed here. And it looks like you actually get a set of you can, if they've had more than one encounter, you can actually see this information here. There's multiple dates here on the profile. So again, this information is researched for free. So you have your arrest, you have your court information, and then of course you have your what they're doing after the sentencing. If they're in a prison, you're also able to research that for free. So you have quite a few options, anything from these lots of free databases that you can use to look up any professional, any individual that you're doing maybe business with, and that has a license or a business. And then you also can use court records, arrest records, and of course inmate records to do all of your other research. So with that said, there's actually a paid tool here, and I want to bring it up. You might be interested in this. This doesn't just pull from a specific database. It looks at pretty much most of the databases, public databases, criminal arrest databases, real estate information, court records, financials, things like bankruptcies, and then private databases like cell phone information, previous addresses, things like that now. But it doesn't just pull records from within Ohio, but it looks at other states too. So it gives you like a nationwide look into somebody's background. And people do move around, so it's something to be mindful of. Now, for example, if let's say somebody has a criminal record in North Dakota or Oklahoma, let's just say, and now they're living in Ohio, if you're just looking at records at the county level or the state level, you're not necessarily going to catch what happened in North Dakota or in Oklahoma. So it's a great resource. People do move around nowadays, so it's a great tool to kind of spread your research a little bit and look into databases that you might have not even considered looking into. And it's an instantaneous search, so it won't take too much of your time. So with that said, visit ohiopublicrecords.org and get started on your free background check in Ohio. Thank you.